Good morning. You join us? Well, the sun's come out briefly. There's still some cloud around. The grass is growing, and we just had a huge dumping of rain in the past 48 hours. I think we had 10 mils last night and over 34 mils yesterday. We've had our break to the season. Actually, I was going to record this in the donga, but well, at the time of recording this would be the 22nd of June, if I got that right. The following footage that you're about to see is a bit patchy in places. It's a brief montage of what we've done over the past couple of weeks to get ourselves and the farm prepared for seeding. As you know, I've stated that the combine is 5.5 metres wide working width, 6.88 metres wide wheel to wheel. Well, our gates, particularly down there, the one between the two paddocks, and we've still got one more to widen over there, and we had another one up by the house. Those all needed widening because they didn't quite reach 6 metres. So we ended up having to go dig some holes with the digger. Ended up pulling the digger apart because we couldn't get the top link low enough. So that was a rebuilding process that took a couple of hours out of the afternoon. Ended up getting these new gates finished, sorted, and then we set to work putting the hoses on the combine. And in the next clip that you're about to see is with this unit right here. This is the fan assist. It's basically like a mini air seeder blower, and how it works is basically it runs off the hydraulics, similar to how the combine has its own hydraulics for raising and lowering. We pull a lever in the tractor. The tractor's on the plough at the moment. Get to that in a second. We pull a lever in the tractor once the hydraulics are connected, and the hydraulics turn this on, and the following footage you're about to hear is us testing the fan assist for the very first time. It's definitely got air through it. A little bit of water, a little bit of moisture in there, but that's mostly okay. Yeah, it's got quite a bit of a growl to it. And after that, the next plan of attack, well, we had all the liquid hoses basically on the combine here, and all the tines, points and boots as I went on about in the past couple of videos. What was the next step? Well, we got liquid hoses on here, but there's not much point in having liquid hoses unless you have some kind of storage unit to put liquid fertiliser in to run through these hoses. So how do we go about that? We came down to two options. Option number one was the tractor exhaust tanks, which you can see over there. I'll throw some footage up onto the screen now. We worked out that the tractor exhaust tanks, while they would have been good enough for the 8 hectares of oats that we're putting in the ground this year, minute, tiny crop, that's really just because we're on a time crunch now. We're rapidly approaching the end of the season. But we figured out that in the long run, if we're going to do some more cropping hectares, like around 150 hectares one day maybe, those tanks over there are going to be a bottleneck of sorts because they're small. So we'd be stop, start every couple of hours, and it'd just be wasting valuable time otherwise spent putting seeds in the ground. What was option number 2, or option B? Here's past Noah to explain. Just zoom the camera out a little bit so you can see much better. This is the Forward Engineers 660 air cart, and this had the Mark II tractor exhaust system. We had 3 of these on Nelly Creek that we ran. The first one was attached to a Morris 6180. It's like sort of like a lime green Morris cart before they made the red ones. With a red frame, and that first tractor exhaust system looked like a graphics card. It had great big fans on the front here, and it would spin like mad, and it would make the poor Johnny 8760 gasp for air every time it tried to pull it. Well, the air cart that came next after the Morris was this. This is the air cart that Dad used after the Morris. and it originally had a Morris hydromotor and fan on it. Of course, we've taken that off now. I'll get to that in a bit. And we had a Morris bar running behind it. That bar was quite big. I think it was around about 45, 50 feet, if I remember correctly. Either way, we used this for a couple of years, but something on it kept running hot and Dad didn't like how it was running. So we then moved on to the Simplicity air cart, which then gave way for the Gason over there. Now, why am I talking about the 660? Well, Forward Engineering, for those who are in the know when it comes to Chamberlain tractors, Forward Engineers basically took over the Welshpool factory after John Deere deerified Chamberlain in 1986. John Deere stopped making the Chamberlain tractors, but kept owning the Chamberlain Industries name. However, they sold the actual air seeder building and the combine building to Forward Engineers. And if I remember correctly, Forward still makes stuff to this day. They were originally green and sort of had this yellow thing going on with this funky looking decals that is very faded nowadays. But I think the later combines, which are still being made to this day, if I remember right, according to that parts book anyway, the new ones, they're blue now. So back on topic, it hasn't got a hydromotor anymore. That means we cannot use this as an air cart. So what was the point of bringing this down to Erinvale? At the time when we were moving, we quickly realized that the air seeder was going to be too big. We had foresight that this was going to happen. And so we thought, right, well, down the road, we'll get a combine. Well, as you can see, we've got the combine over there, and it was always the intention to run liquid setup with it. However, to run a liquid setup on something like a 753, you either need to make an overly complicated frame to balance some saddle tanks on it, which we cannot figure out how to do because of the way that frame is mounted on that actual combine. So we thought, all right, plan B. We'll make it the Flashest Combine in Western Australia. Here's our thinking. It's not quite going to be an air seeder, but it will be in an air seeder formation. Take the Gason and the John Deere bar, for example. This is what we call a tow behind setup. The reason why it's called a tow behind is because the tank is at the back, the bar is in the middle, and the tractor would normally go on the front. Of course, we haven't got a big tractor there, and the John Deere bar's in bits now, so we can't use that in its initial form anymore, but the tank, well, it could be put back to work if anyone really wanted to try, but that's beside the point. Where am I going with this? We cannot use this as an air cart, but we can use it as a liquid cart. The frame is still very much intact. We can lift the bin off, and we can also lift the ladder and this weird tractor exhaust contraption off. We can lift all that off and scrap it, sell it for part. If anyone really wants it, I'm more than happy to send it off. And we are just going to use the chassis. Now, what's going to go on the chassis will be a pump, a hose out the back, as well as the hydraulics. The hydraulics will remain intact. And what will go in place of the seed tank will be a liquid tank. How big will this liquid tank be? Let's use the Gason as an example. This tank over here is the exact measurements, like this frame right here, to get a tank like this into the frame of that. Now, the ideal tank that we want is around 2,000 litres or 1,500 litres. This would keep us going for at least a couple of hours with the combine and the liquid fertiliser going in it. The tank right there, that's what you'd call a tow between. When it was used as an air seeder cart, the Forward Engineers 660 would go in between the tractor, which would be right here, and the bar, which would be right here. This tank is still good as a tow between, not as an air cart, but as a liquid cart. The plan is we take this bin off it, we take the tractor exhaust part off it, and in its place we'll lower down a brand new Cowerco 1,500 litre tank, measured precisely between the frame there so it can fit between the wheels. Of course, we'll keep the hydraulics and stuff. The hydraulics here will go onto the tractor. It will run along the frame underneath the tank and hook up to the back here, where it will proceed to run the combine. And when it's done, well, we may repaint this. I'm thinking we'll put some John Deere green on it to make it resemble the Chamberlain. We won't paint the liquid tank because the liquid tank doesn't need painting, but the end goal is this will look completely different, but it's going to be one hell of a setup between the 7810 on the front and the 753 on the back. And who knows, we could have, in Dad's words, not mine, the Flashest Combine in Western Australia. Will that happen? Well, I'm not sure if it will for this seeding, but it certainly will be the case for next year. Option B sounded very good. So what did we do the other weekend? Well, Dad came along with the loader. We got some chains. We unbolted the tank part of the Forward Engineering 660 and we lifted it off frame. It took quite a bit of wriggling and figuring out how to do that, but we got the tank component off. We took it back to the workshop. The chassis sat there for a bit. We cleaned it up, pulled the excess hoses off it, debated whether to take the ladder off or keep it on, and then we put a temporary tank onto the chassis of what is going to be the liquid cart, borrowed a firefighter pump off the Hino truck, borrowed some hoses off the Gason, and then we hooked it up. You ready for the big reveal? This. It's funny looking. That's because this is the prototype liquid cart. We have got a proper cart that's going to go on the chassis here. It's going to be a 1500 litre tank, but they're busy making it at Coerco at the moment and it's not ready yet, and we cannot wait any longer for that tank to arrive. So we're literally just having the ratchet strap of steel holding down the IBC, which really is just a Flexian shuttle. We're going to be putting a mix of fertiliser of Nutrisoil and Flexian, I think it is, if I got that right, Dad.
Yeah, and some restorer powder and some other stuff.
We're going to just whack it into the IBC here, and then when it's time to turn the liquid on, we'll open up a couple of taps. We'll turn this pump on, and eventually we'll have the hose running from under there across here over to where the hydraulics for the combine are, and we've put the finishing pieces of the puzzle on now, which is a roll of 3/4 inch hose and a T-joiner, and then, well, he'll be ready to test. So we've discussed how the liquid hoses are going to work, but for those who may also be pointing out, well, the combine's got its own hydraulics that need to plug into the tractor, and we've got a tow between cart here. How's that going to work? These hoses here, one set, which I think is these ones, are for the raising and lowering of the bar, and this one in the yellow, that's for the fan assist. These are going to hook up into this remote here and this remote here, and these hydraulics are going to run to the front of the tractor, so the tractor will hook up here. We'll plug the hydraulics of the cart in at the front here, and then hopefully, if everything goes well, we should be able to raise and lower the combine, similar to how an air seeder would work. We have a tow between cart here and a toolbar behind there. Looking a little weird? Yes. Is it bush mechanics at its finest? Yes. And will it do the job? Absolutely. Of course, the liquid carts. This is the prototype right now. When we get the 1500 litre tank in here, I'll probably come along and do some painting up here and probably repaint the chassis of the cart to make it match the combine. And, well, one day, well, we may take this ladder bracket and stuff off here as well, because we quickly realised that the jack stand, this part here, hits onto there as well. But take the ladder off, put the 1500 litre tank on, give it some paint, and, well, we might, emphasis on might, have the Flashest Combine in Western Australia. That's the working title at the moment. We might call it something else. We don't know. The initial idea, as Dad was just saying, other people have put liquid kits on combines like our 753 here. They have put liquid kits on with tanks mounted on the frame. They have done it in the past. It's nothing revolutionary or brand new. We're just doing our own take on our liquid kit and just throwing a tow between liquid tank in, because why the hell not? We like to be wildly exaggerated with these things. So the tank's hooked up and we're putting the last of the hoses on now. Where's the tractor? For those of you who have paid attention to the community tab on the YouTube channel, I know I go on and on and on about that a lot, but that's where I share updates when there's a drought in videos, because I share you behind the scenes photos of what we're up to. Tractor's down the paddock on the plough at the moment, because I literally, after I finished rock picking, I literally just came home, jumped straight on the tractor, pumped the tyres up and went and did a couple test laps. After we get these hoses on, we'll probably go over there and show you in a little bit. Right, we've got the firefighter over there. We got the IBC here, Dad's up top, filling it up. And it's almost ready for testing. Right, so the filling up was interrupted because that motor ran out of fuel. We've screwed the lid on for the recirculation, so we don't have a bit too much flowing out. We need to see if this motor starts, because we had to use the aero start last time. Looks to be working. Spoke too soon. Come on. There we are. The blue one?
Running from the shuttle.
Yeah. Alright, that should be flowing. Have we got liquid? Still filling air? Yeah, something's wrong. In theory, the pump should be pumping water through these tubes up into the towers and then down here, but something in the system is not quite right. Either it's taking a very long time or something's blocked somewhere. Oh wow, yep. Haha. Yep.
Too much pressure.
Too much. Way too much. I only got the camera rolling after it made a big outburst, but it just came off everywhere. Well, this is the reason why we're testing it now. Not right when we're in the paddock about to go put the crop in.
We're gonna need a small pump.
Small, Righto, take two. Hopefully, you have better results this time.
Yeah, like.
And yep, we got a geyser. We have got a leak. On the bright side though, the rest of the hoses, certainly on this side, we've got a trickle there. We've got a trickle around the back here. That's hoses, yep. Yeah, it's definitely spitting out shuttle juice. I don't like how that's leaking up the top though. Just as well that we got the cover closed. Otherwise that would be putting all of that straight into the bin. Pump number one's going, pump number two's going. Take three, let's see. Let's hope that it works and nothing else goes kaboom. Yeah, okay, so far so good. No leaks at the top. We've got shuttle juice. It's trickling. They're all really going out at the same speed, like sputtering.
No? Looks great.
Yeah. Well, they look to be. That is a synchronized session of making puddles. Look at that. Oh, hello. One of these must not be through the end properly. It's dribbling over the seed bridge as well. One of the things that I really like about this combine is, well, you can come right at the back. You've got enough space to really check the hoses back there, and you've got an easy view of them all. I think Dad's just grabbed a bucket so we can do the rate test. What we found out, especially with Nutrisoil, we want to have a decent application of around 140 litres a hectare going in the ground at the same time as the seed. Having more liquid fertiliser, particularly Nutrisoil, which is what we're using, which is more of a biological sort of more natural liquid fertiliser than the other synthetic stuff. More of that being applied in the ground at the same time as the seeds going in, the better. Right, Dad's got a stopwatch, pump's open, should be pumping, and we have dribbling. Well, that was fairly quick. It must have something in the system already. And this is how we'll do our tally for our fertiliser rate. It's like listening to the sound of rain on the roof, except this time it's making puddles underneath this machine. I love it. Right, so if we've done our math right,
That means that it only lasts 4 hectares.
we ran the calculations. If we've done our math right, currently this is outputting 260 litres a hectare. We need to drop it by at least 100, isn't that? Mm. Yeah. Drop it by 100 litres a hectare because, well, I think the pump there might be a bit powerful. We need to drop that by 100 litres, otherwise this is only going to do 4 hectares. So that little paddock where the Johnny is right now, probably halfway through that, and none left for the house paddock. 3, 2, 1. Okay, stopwatch is running. We have liquid. Still very splotchy in some spots, but that's mostly equalised along the whole lot. Probably air still on the pipe. That one's good, that one's good, that one's good, that one's good. I apologise for the wind noise if the wind noise gets into the camera. Hopefully I'll be upgrading this soon. And the pump is off. That is...
That's 1 minute.
1 minute. And that's given us...
Probably going too far now.
That's 400 litres, isn't it?
No, that's...
Yeah, because there's 50s in this one.
Oh, is that 350? 350.
I'm
pretty sure that's 350. It's 150 less than a and 500.
Right, so the calculations are set. We've got it tested, it should be working. The pump has to be right down on idle though, but that's all right. It'll probably only do these 2 paddocks. The total hectarage for this year is going to be 10 hectares, including the house paddock where we're going to be shifting the rams to start with. They'll be in there temporarily while I'm ploughing these 2 paddocks, and then we'll shift them over to Little Ball when it's time to do the house paddock. But yeah. We're ploughing. Yeah.
Oh, it's rough.
Yes. That's the reason why I said these
look
were...
how bad. That's not very good.
That's the reason why I decided to pull up after about... Because I was teaching myself. Right about there on that first lap, that's where it started digging, so I lifted it up. But now I missed a strip there.
It's not following properly. Shit.
Yeah.
You've got to be virtually in the furrow.
Have that front wheel on the furrow basically all the time.
Yeah. I can't see what, I don't know why. It's so bloody low. Should be up in the air more. What speed am I doing? 7?
7.3.
Gear up.
We're on 8.5 at the moment.
About seeing the speed.
Okay, so this is the kind of speed that we'll need to be doing with the combine. Slightly open because it was all foggy in here. Oh, love grass is caught in that. Hang on. There we are. That's shut now. Yeah. Probably it's turning over better. Probably because it has an expert tractor driver on it.
No, because of the speed. You got to go to a certain speed to throw it.
Yeah.
If you go too slow, you won't turn properly.
That's probably the reason why my bits are chunky, whereas
Although where there's grass, I think it's still chunky, but yeah.
just as well that I did only use them as test laps and pulled up. This is where I push that love grass with the loader. Still pretty rough.
Yeah, see, cloud up dry here.
But it was raining cats and dogs right in this very spot Friday night.
Yeah. Non-wetting, so the pretty wind down the damn river.
So I got a couple of comments asking whether this plough was a Sovereign or a Majestic.
I have absolutely no idea. It's all I know. It's a John Shearer, old John Shearer
24 disc plough from
spring.
From sometime in the, well, sometime 50 years ago, or maybe even older. Okay, so by the looks, when I put the hydraulics in, I put them in back to front, and I put them in the wrong remote number 2, which is the middle one here. That's apparently best for the hydro motors, whereas the raising and lowering one is remote 1. So we swapped that over. Hopefully it's done a better job.
Yeah, I don't think we can adjust the stop right there.
Yeah.
No, that's...
Although,
Let's see.
looks like this one's got a hitch for another plough to go on it. Yeah.
Would it? But you would need a big forward drive.
Yeah. One day. Alright, technical difficulties. Remote number 1's out for the counts. I'm going to try and swap to 3 and see what happens. At this rate, should probably... Oh. So I think Dad's going to come back around and try again with the plough. Look at that, there he goes. Yeah, bringing up a slight bit of dust there. That's interesting. The rows that we're standing on currently. That one, this one, and this one I did. And as you can see, they're quite a bit chunky. Well, this was me trying to teach myself how to run the plough. And as you can see, it's very chunky. This is probably because the plough was not too shallow, it was too deep. And I wasn't making the tractor going fast enough. So the furrows were not going nice and smooth. But here you can see the first furrows that Dad did here. And this next one that he did here. Benny, come back. This is all much, well, a little bit better. A little bit better. Goes to show you that he's still the master at this, despite not doing proper ploughing for a while. And here's me, the absolute amateur. Look at that. It's all working quite well. I think he's coming over to either finish that, strip off, and then come back to do this, or just going straight on to do that. Biddy! So here we are, the last run for this little paddock anyway. Just got to clean up a couple spots. Bloody hell! Who plowed these outer runs? Oh wait, that's right, me.
No, that was
Far out.
That's why we don't plough no more.
Yeah, here we are in the next paddock.
Oh, I should have pushed all that bush away.
Oh, next year's job.
Well, I'm going to do that.
There we are. Oh, here come some rocks. And normally for this area we're supposedly getting 100 mils in June. I mean, we're halfway there, but for total this year we're still way behind average.
You can see why they fenced it where they did.
Yeah.
Put this in for hay and left that as pasture.
Although that doesn't make sense because they cropped that paddock too a few years back.
Sure.
Oh, I could see the ridge lines a couple of years ago. Mind you, I could see that in this paddock too.
Supposedly got 8 tonnes of a hectare of hay off this.
But I bet they sowed it far earlier than we are going to this year.
Yeah.
This would be a great opportunity to actually test the working width on this. I didn't bring a measuring tape, crap.
4 metres.
Around about there. Right, I have no idea if this is the tripod, I mean, is it, if it's going to work or not, but we're in the tractor now. Let's go ploughing. Off we go. Alright, so yesterday at the time of recording this, you watched me film Dad do the ploughing. Now I'm in the tractor flying solo. We're doing it. Now this is in hospital paddock, I do believe. This is basically our front paddock, so it's the one that you can see by the road. I'm not sure if the camera can see that or not because it's tilted upwards because the tripod is broken, but you can see the rams over there, they're in their paddock. At the end of this week, we're going to need to move them on over to Little Bore. Dad says that the plan for the house paddock is still going to put a crop in there, we just aren't going to plough it up. He's going to try and just simply spray some Roundup out there, like weed killer, herbicide, and hopefully it will do the same similar sort of job as the plough. Plough will do, we'll just compare the two. Yeah, this is pretty much what next couple of hours is going to look like. We're going to go round and round and round in circles. Bits we need to avoid the tree. Indeed, I don't like that position, dog. Yeah, sorry for the jump cut. I think the tripod definitely needs replacing because it fell apart on me in the tractor. It was stable when I tested it back in March, April. It's raining. It's starting to shower a little bit. They did say that it was going to be partly cloudy today. They weren't forecasting rain, but well, just looking at the clouds, I'm not sure if it's still going on or if it's past or what, but you could see a couple of spots, bit patchy up there. Overall, the tractor's been running well, and so has the plough. The ground, however, hasn't. As you would have noticed in the footage yesterday, Dad did say that we're bringing up some dust. That's just the drawbacks of the non-wetting country that we're working with. Right, it's early in the afternoon now. We're on to the last couple of laps. Hopefully the tripod stays put. And yeah, we're nearly finished now. Oh boy, yeah. This tripod does not like being bounced around like a pea in the frying pan. I do apologise for the shaky footage, but that literally is the turbulence that Indy and I am feeling in the tractor. Just skip the tree this time round. Normally this would be the point where we'd start going up and back if it was one of those very wet ploughs or something that you could flip, but this is a one-way plough, and I would throw it on time lapse, but because it's so turbulent, it probably wouldn't be very entertaining being thrown around the cab. Oh, bit of rope. Come on, no, you need to get the rope. Boys, your help. Please go for a one. I'm not sure what this is from. We don't tend to have rope like this. I'll just go drop it off by the rocks so it's out of the way. Overall thoughts of the plough so far? It's doing an alright job. It is a bit fiddly with the hydraulic remotes on the tractor, but then the tractor's pretty old, so that's just the way things go, I guess. It's got chunks poking up. Ideally, what the plough is supposed to do is you have the wheel in the furrow behind the tractor here, and as you can see, these discs, they work exactly like a furrow plough. They spade up the soil, flip it over, and they have it all nice turned over, so that where the wheel in the edge of the furrow over here, this marks where it's going to be, and this one, well, it's sort of out of the ground. It's almost like a ridge marker, but it's not very exact, if that makes sense. And the thing that makes this disc plough different to the traditional furrow ploughs is this one's got springs along here. So in any instance where it hits rock, the spring will make this lift up. It's much the same with spring tines on the air seeder, where one would think anyway, you hit a rock, it raises the disc up. So it goes up and down all the time as it navigates the gravel or sand or this kind of soil right here. I think I'll just carry on and we'll touch base when we're close to done, or if something happens and I break it. Right, so you join us mid-afternoon now. I think it's around 2:30, 3 o'clock. And, well, the paddock's ploughed now. Look at that. That is mostly ploughed. Of course, you can see some chunks of green. Nothing much we can really do about that. That's just the way the John Deere has always been. But this, I did all this. Okay, Dad did 2 laps, but I just carried on and did the rest. Well, as you can see, we've got some rocks around here that are going to need to be picked, of course. That will be tomorrow's job, I do believe. And we've also got to, well, take that mineral bucket thing away and take the panels in that paddock away, and then I'll come and clean all this up. But yeah, not perfect, but considering that I've never driven a plough before, only a Kelly chain, and that had a much smoother finish than this, of course, but I reckon I did pretty good. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Uncle Ken. And there he goes. Having to put this stupid bloody mask on. What's that?